What is up, you guys? Sage here, and today we're talking about my deepest fear outside of business that I found. And I found it through the fact that the last video we made was so off typical topic for me. I was, kind of trying to understand, analyze why exactly. And it was because of that album, like I said. Obviously, we had talked about briefly the like one of the songs "Crying in Chanel," and it was, it was about me being cried for in Chanel. But what I realized actually scares me. And the reason why I can't stop listening to this album is because Drake is a very career oriented human being. And as such, his love life is in shambles. And so the fear for me is for my love life to end up in shambles in the same way. And you realize this when you actually listen. Like I've actually taken time just on repeat, just listen to certain songs, this and that. What's the beat like? And then when you the Crying in Chanel, I was only able to grasp what the beginning part was about as soon as I got used to the beat, because that beat is very overpowering at first, but then when you get used to it, you can kind of actually pay attention, feel what he wants you to feel, the story he's telling you. Okay, cool. Now there's this song, love song on the album. It's called Greedy, in which he is going for a more somber mood. He's going for, he starts it with, "It's been a nice life, money and the bright lights ain't as bad as people that's crying." And then he goes into it, he's flowing, people have done right by, flipped on me, but girl, it's all right. Cool, right? And then he goes into some other stuff, but then he gets into this part, and this part was just highlighted in my mind to the point where I felt like, nah, let me actually just talk about this, because this actually captures what it is that makes me want to listen to this and understand this perspective, being a person of ambition. You know what I'm saying? Being an ambitious individual that is very focused on creating, affluence and this and that. Is he unironically, in a romantic way, speaks of buying people things. Like Crying in Chanel, you can see as like as he said in it, as if my love language ain't felt. Like at the end of it, he says, she crying in the middle of Chanel. She says things I did for her, I've done for someone else. Um, yeah, he says something else, and then he says, as if my love language ain't felt. Damn. So that's number one. He clearly sees buying people things as a love language. Okay, and why this is relevant to me and why it scares me is because I'm also someone, like I expressed in the last video, I don't really understand love. I don't understand love very well. And I feel that it may lead, if you take where I'm at to the natural extreme, which is super career oriented, doesn't understand love, and then you take where Drake is currently, those path, like it feels as if I'm on the path to there, of which I don't want to go there, right? I don't want to be in a place where, and listen to this, in Greedy, he says, and like I said, somber mood, he's kind of speaking romantically, and he says, "You're working 9 5. What's the Wi-Fi? I'm gonna try and buy you some time." Um, and he says, "I'll be your lifeline. Just get offline, leave your phone, and look in my eyes." Now, on first listen, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's cool little romantic gesture, this and that." What I need you to understand is going back to search and rescue, right? Come and rescue me, right? Never mind all that. We can zone in on the part. Like obviously, all of that is trash, but I feel like he kind of wants to give that off. But listen to this part. He says, "Don't know how to express my love, and that's why I American express my love." And Amex is um, a banking service, or a bad, like it's a bank basically, with like unlimited cards, and all the black cards and platinum cards and this and that and the third. Okay, so from that we can understand, or we can notice a pattern of him describing buying people things as his love language. And there he was speaking of it in like a corny, goofy type of way. You know what I'm saying? um where we can say, oh no, he was just trolling. You go to Crying in Chanel, and he's dead serious, saying, um As if my love language ain't felt down. You know, he wasn't saying that like a jokingly, but you can say, okay, no, that song is it's kind of snarky, it's kind of, it's a little on the nose, it's on the chin, whatever, right? And you can dismiss that as well. But what he does in Greedy is again, slow, somber song, like romantic, classic R&B, and he's talking about, he in terms of the way he expresses love, right? Flowers, diamonds, jets in the sky. That's what he knows. But here specifically, he's trying to be like deep, deep. He's trying to be deeply emotional and to display a romantic gesture. And the best thing that he could conjure up, he's using his imagination. He could write anything. But the best thing he could think of is, you're working 9 to 5. What's the Wi-Fi? I'm gonna try and buy you some time. Just get offline, leave your phone and look in my eyes. Now, here's the thing. Here's what's scary about that. It's not just the fact that's all he could think about, but the fact that, if we go into his psyche and we go into what's behind that, he feels, or at this stage of the game, his most valuable thing for getting love is to buy it. You know what I'm trying to say? We can actually go back to Crying in Chanel as well, and where he talks about this girl. I just remembered what that first part's about. It's about this girl, and she's holding on to sentimental gifts that she got from her exes. And like when he met her, she's a bottle service girl, whatever. But he's trying to get her, or he notices that she's really attached to these things. And obviously they get to talking, they start dating, whatever. And even if he would replace those things, she just refuses to part ways with them. She says she went through too much for them, had to fake fall in love for them. Just sentimental gifts that she can't part ways with. And then he goes into, I'll buy something better for you. Forget that. He doesn't say forget that, but he says something else. You'll fill in the blank. I'll buy something better for you. Forget that. You know, like I'm better. I have more money. This that. And it goes into 10 bags are mine, 20 bags are mine, 100 bags are mine, 500 bags. You better be mine. You get what I'm trying to say? And so for me, it's just that psychological scream for like it's a scream for help, sort of, but not like he's not screaming for help. He's just screaming his current situation. But for me, that seems like a pretty helpless situation where he's just finding himself trying to buy love, but you quickly find out that it's overpriced whenever you do try and buy it. So yeah, for me, that is the deepest fear that I have thus far. Not very insecure about much, and you know, pretty good looking guy, pretty good looking guy. Intellectual, an academic, um, in good shape. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. I'm sure someone will fill in the blank. But yeah, like I'm a pretty good, well-rounded, like just as a human being, as an individual. Um, but that right there, that area right there, I just seem not to have it down. And the issue with that is, like I said, I'm good at attracting them. I like when I get to that point of affluence, I will be able to get the girl that's on the cover of Vogue, not just because I can afford to take her to the places she wants to go, but also because I do have game, and I am, I'm not surprised by beautiful women. I'm not shocked by it. Like I'm something I'm used to. Okay, how the flop comes in now is, how do you bridge the gap from going going, yo, bro, is it too late for Drizzy? I don't know, bro, but he's definitely in a bit of a pickle, and that's my fears being in that pickle. My fears being so career oriented, and you find this, this is not just something that is a Drake thing. You'll find, I mean, Kobe got divorced. Freaking Jeff Bezos got divorced. Arnold Schwarzenegger's divorced. And I don't know if this is just more people are getting divorced, period, or it so happens that successful men, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a certain like level of ambition where you just look at a guy and you go, or I look at guys and I go, this nigga's been divorced. This guy, he's a billionaire as well. Rob. I'm not going to butcher his last name, but his name is Rob. He's been on Shark Tank, divorced as well. And it's just, I feel like more often than not, like hyper ambitious people um, don't do that well in relationships. Yeah, that scares me. That scares me because I want to do big things. I really, really do. And there is a world in which you do big things and you have, you know, a healthy, supportive relationship. But there's always a sacrifice with it. Like Alex Ramosi doesn't feel it necessary to have kids. Like he really just doesn't care to do it. PBD PBD does have kids. He has a wife, a loving wife at home. Um, and yeah, it's just the journey to there isn't, or like what went into that. I think he had known his woman, like they'd both been in previous like relationships. They knew each other while they were in other relationships, and then they eventually like came around and then linked up together. They kind of talked about it, and then boom, you know. I feel end of the day, like if I do it, it's probably gonna be like that, bro. Probably. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what's in store, but I can tell you what goes on in my mind and why it actually matters to me, or it comes to mind. Even though this is very much a self improvement business channel, a part of self improvement is that interpersonal relationship. I mean, understanding that yes, I am good at people, and like generally I'm good at networking, I'm good at bringing people together, I'm good at just providing value to all different types of people. There is that, a looming ominous doom that is in the air, which is the success rates are not very high. If you think success is hard, try freaking love and marriage and then that type of stuff. Because even the most successful individuals aren't successful with that. But is it that obsession? Is it the obsession that begets one not to be quite able to immerse themselves within the love? Or is it the neglecting? Because I did for a very long time. Um, not even listen to love songs and stuff like that because I was like, nah, bro, I just need to be focused on getting the bag, getting this, getting that. And that's cool, right? That is ultimately what I do spend most of my time doing even now, in terms of the action, right? But I am kind of taking an interest. Like this topic is piquing my interest because it is something that concerns me and that I worry about. Mm. But yeah, I guess I'll let you know when the stats are in, eh? Still maintaining the celibacy for the year, still staying away from all that. And I think the reason for that is not necessarily because like I'm not interested in doing this and that, or I'm not, I don't see people that are, that entice me. But it's for me, being with that, like whatever the person is less of a it's less of an achievement than being celibate for a year because of like the life that I have lived. Like I've gotten, every girl I've ever wanted, and you know, so for me, I think the opposite. I think I just like to take life to the extremes. I'm a pretty extreme guy. I love to take life to the extremes, and I just love to see what it's like on each side of the pond. Not necessarily, or perhaps it is something where I want to have the cake and eat it too, right? It is something where I want to have the novelty, of knowing what all different types of flavors and this and that. But at the same time, I want that deeper connection and that love and this and that. And so I'm kind of living different lives through different phases, you know. Perhaps it is that not wanting to miss out by being willing to miss out in the short term, because in the long term, I'll say that I have been here, there, everywhere, and understand all perspectives. But I think ultimately, which is veering off topic, but ultimately the point of life is to learn. And the question is, are you learning exactly what you want to learn? Because at the end of the day, you'll win, you'll lose. Um, it is what it is. You will love, you will lose, but ultimately, you will learn something at the end of it. And the question becomes, are you learning what you want to learn? Are you learning what it takes to be in a long term relationship? Or are you learning how to spin plates and get different goals? And you can do any of those and be happy. But the question is, or what will beget that happiness is, are you living a day to day that you can be proud of, and that you can be happy that you live? That's the question ultimately. So yeah, when it comes to this deep fear, yeah, Buffett. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Still trying to figure it out. So talking to different types of people, different backgrounds, seeing what their opinions are on the matter. But I will solve this thing called love. Whether I'll get it or not is a different question. But solving it is I could do that. Because there's some controllables, right? There's a certain level of luck that is associated with just meeting the right person at the right time, this and that, right? Hopefully I get lucky. But I can solve for looking for the answer. I can look for the truth. And then thereafter is finding that truth going to lead me closer to it won't lead me further from, you get what I'm trying to say, or that's the thought process at least. um yeah, so now the game plan in terms of a step by step is just continue to talk to people, man. Continue to talk to people from different backgrounds, interested in different things. See what clicks with you. And what here's a very important thing: once you pick it, you can't go back. And that's where I draw the line in terms of the having the cake and eating it too. Is I fully realize that you can't have the cake and eat it too. Meaning, there is no world in which I am spinning plates and madly in love with someone, like there's no world in which I'm having the novelty of being with anyone anywhere doing anything, and also being a family man, and being happy. There's no such thing as having both those things and being fulfilled for myself. I've tried. And so, and I've been there, after I tried doing both, I was like, okay, that's not the answer. And then I was here, and then I was like, you know what, I think it's more important to me personally to kind of have that person to go through life with, just to have, in terms of like a homie for real, but like a homie that you can truly, truly just be yourself with. I think ultimately we're looking for the self stimulation. We're looking for a mirror that talks back. um, or maybe that's just the vanity in me. But I feel like ultimately we're looking for someone who, a song I haven't listened to in a while, Mirrors by Justin Timberlake. He speaks of it's like in my mirror, you know, my mirror staring back. Like, and now it's true as it's promised. Something, just two reflections into one, right? Which is we are like we become we, right? It's no longer you and me. It's us. This is what we do. This is what we like. This is, do you get what I'm trying to say? I feel like that's what we're looking for, and I don't think you get that when you're busy with other things on the side. Not truly, because again, there's this part of you that is asymmetrical, that is not being reflected on the other side, and so when everything else is in line, that becomes a glaring difference, and that's what causes that cognitive dissonance, or at least that's what caused it for myself personally. So yeah, bro, I think right now it's just looking for that mirror. But that's not necessarily I'm going to look for someone that is necessarily as ambitious as I am, but that doesn't mean I'm not. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I can maybe talk to someone who's like that, and then talk to someone who's gonna. Here's the thing. I'm not interested in talking to someone that's going to be pulling me away from my goals at all, because I know the one thing that is constant, that's never going to leave me throughout my life, is my goals. And so and that's why for me it's a worthy ideal, or it's an ideal that makes sense to strive for those and to want to achieve those, right? But then it's who you're going to be with on the journey. The three important decisions that we make is what you're going to do, and that's what I've done, right? Which is I've decided, okay, business, cool, where are you going to do it? And then in my mind, I'd love to be in that Camps Bay villa with the Ferrari on the drive. That's where, it's in Camps Bay, Cape Town. That's where. And then who you're going to be doing that with. That's a collection of friends, associates, that type of stuff, of which I'm good at, right? Because, networker. But then there's also the closer who, which is, are you going to be with kids? Are you going to have kids? Um, and I don't just want to, I know the obvious answer for someone like me who's a giver is, yeah, no, of course. And I think like, yeah, it is yes, ultimately, that I get to. Um, but I'm not like, I'm looking for the truth. I'm not looking, I don't want to answer because I feel that I'm supposed to say anything. I'm looking for what I truly believe will fulfill me. And so that is the search, my friends. It's for that deeper who. It's for that answer to that third question. Three important questions that we answer in young life. What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna do it? And who are you gonna do it with? I have the what, the where. Now the question is who. And that question is not just based on the individual. Yes, it will go down to the individual at the end of the day, but it's based on who is this person? What are their interests? Are they my interests? Are we both chasing this goal? Are we, is she a co-operator in like within my company, or does she do her own thing? But then we just come back and we cheerlead for each other. Is she not interested in careers at all? Is she wanting to stay at home, and does she want the family life? Because obviously now, if she's 100% into that dynamic, then I'm like, oh, you get what I'm trying to say? Obviously, that's what I'm going to do. But then if she's super career oriented, and here's the thing, if the values align, she's super career oriented, we may have a kid. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe that, I would end up with the type of person. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to have kids. That's crazy. That's a crazy statement to me. So I do think, a young one, maybe three piece nyana. Because I come from a family of three between my mom and dad. So maybe I want my own little three piece. I don't know at this point in time, and I don't know if that's practical with the size of goals that I have. That's another thing. Unless she wants to like be staying at home, because I don't want my kids to be raised by any sort of system, any sort of nanny, any sort of I don't want them to be raised by the TV. I want their mom to raise them. You get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, Machito, the thing is, there's a lot, man. There's a lot to unpack in that third question. Um, just as there was to unpack in the first two, I suppose. And I did take about a year to kind of figure myself out career wise, to know, or to dive head over heels into what I thought I wanted, and that right there is what led me to what I actually wanted. And so I do suppose the logical thing to do would be to take that same approach. I do suppose, like, the logical, like, I did it before in this space, it worked. Perhaps it would work, and if it doesn't, then so be it. But it's at least a plan of action, which is I'm going to, if I dive into it, it's not I'm not gonna abstain anymore. But it just means, in terms of the relationship, the dynamic, this and that, I'm genuinely just gonna try my best to knock that question out this year, because I really feel like if I just knock this one out, that's the thing. I feel like if I just knock this one out, then there'll be a certain level of peace. What I'm looking for in life, ultimately, I'm just looking for peace, and this is a fear that I have, that things may end up going south. But that fear is not going to stop me from wanting to pursue things. It is, in fact, enticing me to kind of want to do it. And I may not get it right the first time. That is a part of the game in terms of business. So it may be a part of the game in terms of, the like this instance as well. Um, but ultimately, the fear is not stopping me. It's pushing me towards. And when that fear is alleviated, I feel with that alleviation of the fear, yes, other problems will arise. There is that saying, more money, more problems, and I'm understanding it in the context that it is meant, I believe, which is, when you have 100 rand life, you have 100 rand problems. When you have 100,000 rand life, you have 100,000, million, 100 million. And so the size of your problems grow because you chose to take on bigger problems. That's why you get paid. You get paid to be under that level of stress, to be under, you get paid to go through that. And because I don't want to go through it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to learn how to code. And so I'm paying people who already know how to code for me. I don't want to learn how, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you are that person who's super specialized in this particular area and you are getting highly paid, it's because you're solving big problems, the biggest problems that come within your space. And so more money, more problems, right? In, like, inherently, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's through those things that challenge us that we grow. And so, yeah, that being said, getting back to the relationship side of things, yeah, ultimately it obviously does depend on who you with, what their interests are, and how they influence me. But I don't want to be. I know who I don't want to be, and I think that's very 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 good. But the thing is, I don't know how exactly to prevent it. Yes, there is the simple fix that is saying, for example, I don't want to be less ambitious. But if my girl is less ambitious in a way, like if she's less career orientedly ambitious and she's more ambitious in terms of, man, I want my kids to be, then that's a type of ambition. It's not my type. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like it's tricky, man. Things get tricky. But yeah, no, I'll come back with answers, boys, man. I'll come back with answers. I'm going on the pilgrimage. Last year it was about answering the career question. This year it is I'm going to stop messing around. I'm going to stop playing around. Like none of anything. No, like what's it called? Adult videos. No adult videos. No, self pleasuring. No pleasure from external sources in any way, shape, or form. I'm not in the camp that is, um, nah, bro. She just gave me a hand job, or she just gave me a hand. It doesn't count. Nah, bro. Like I said, extremes. So if I'm in, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? I'm all the way in. So doing absolutely nothing, in a sort of monk-like state, just pursuing the dream, but also being mindful of the fact that we do need to pay attention to this part of our lives. Otherwise, we end up in that situation where we're trying to American Express our love, and that's the fear, right? That's what we're avoiding. So it's great, right? It's just like the dreams when you have like I'll share this with you in closing. Three things three things that the best people in the world at any given space have in common is a big towards, a big dream, a big dream outcome. Awesome. So in the career, you could say, man, there's this scope, there's this vision, right? Relationship, you could say there's this marriage, there's this marriage and relationship that I see myself having that is such a beautiful thing, and I would love to have it. Okay, that's the big dream. And then you have the big away, which is the big fear. Like, I don't want to be a fucking loser. I don't want to let myself down. I don't want to be on my deathbed with regrets because of what I didn't give. If I gave and I lost, 100,000%, that's just a cool story for me to tell. But if I hesitated, and that's the reason why I lost, or if I hesitated and won, even I'll feel terrible. You're right, because that's where that imposter syndrome. Like, you get what I'm trying to say. So there's that big away, and then the third thing is impulse control, which is I'm going to stay on the path until I figure this out. I'm not gonna deviate from the path. I will stay on the path until I find what it is that I'm looking for. And so career wise, it's big towards, big away, and impulse control, which is the discipline. I'm gonna do this every day. I'm gonna stick to these habits. I'm gonna boom, 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 right? This side, I believe impulse control may be like I didn't think of this before I said it, but impulse control may be the journey that I'm going on, which is I'm going to abstain from everything, and I'm not going to deviate from the path. Like, I'm not going to let a pretty set of eyes, a pretty set of whatever, take me away from what it is that I'm trying to achieve. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's that big towards, big dream vision, big away, that fear of I don't want to be in a place where I actually genuinely, honest to God, think that I have to buy love. Like it's cool to have to just double tap into that. It's cool to be able to do those things, but for that to be in a romantic song, for that to be the most romantic thing you can think of doing, for that to be your go-to, like, he could have said anything. He could have said, I'm gonna buy you a rose, call you from work, open the door for you. What would it hurt? Do you get what I'm trying to say? But no, like, he said, I'm gonna try and buy you some time. Like, and in order to just simply get her to put her phone down, get offline, and look him in the eyes. It's flipping sad, bro. So that's the big fear, definitely. Definitely a bigger way. We have the big towards, that is that dream relationship that empowers you, pushes you towards what you want to do, but also fulfills you, and you fulfill each other. You have someone that you're happy to give to, and you're happy to serve, and they want to serve you, and that's awesome. Okay. And then the impulse control is I will not deviate from the path until I find the answers. And I promise you, I will not deviate from the path. until I find us the answers, boys. Okay, if you do enjoy my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The button's right up there. And thank you for watching. I have been Sage, signing out.